So the last time Chuck was here to have one of these discussions, we talked about Goku versus Thanos and broke down that fight. But now I figure let's go to a brand new scale, a brand new level of power, and talk about the gods of Dragon Ball and Marvel. So we're going to be talking about Zeno, the Omni King, and the Living Tribunal, and kind of comparing and contrasting their powers to see who is the stronger one. So, welcome back, Chuck. Hello, Chuck.
Hey man, very glad to be here. You know, people think Zeno is like the strongest character in fiction, but I mean, there's many out there in Marvel and DC Comics that are just way beyond that, and you know, we're here to like break it down a lot more effectively for those that don't really read the comics and, you know, might want to learn more about, hey, these characters are way more powerful than what we think.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say before we go any further is, please understand that Chuck and I both are unbiased when it comes to this opinion. This is not like we're a fanboy of Marvel or of Dragon Ball. I know a lot of people out there would be that way. We're looking at this purely based on the evidence that's been presented to us from the Marvel Comics and from Dragon Ball Super, both the anime and the manga. So, let's talk about it. First of all, the only way to really scale this properly is to look at the feats of each character. So, starting off with Zeno, the Omni King, we've seen Zeno destroy universes, wipe them out entirely, you know, macrocosms within a split second. We've seen him do this, and not just that, that's already impressive enough. We've seen Zeno wipe out multiple universes, not just when he wiped out the original 6 or so, the ones before, you know, Dragon Ball, but also when at the end of the Trunks arc, he wiped out the multiverse. Zeno destroyed the future multiverse in Trunks' timeline in one shot, and that's the most impressive feat that he ever did. And yes, it was confirmed that, you know, in the manga and the anime, that he did indeed wipe out that multiverse and left nothing but a void. That is really impressive. Now, I also want to say that as we're doing this video, Zeno is the most powerful character in Dragon Ball, from what we've been told. If Toriyama wants to add a new god in the future that's higher than Zeno,
Definitely possible,
because he keeps adding new gods to the hierarchy. But right now, we're just going to talk about Zeno. So the strongest thing he's done is wipe out the multiverse. Living Tribunal, though, he's shown some very abstract and absurd levels of power.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, people might think, oh, destroying the universe is like really impressive, but as I've proven in my videos before, even the Sky Fathers like Odin, who is the father of Thor, we have characters like that are already God of Destruction level, if not higher. We have the Celestials, which are above the Sky Fathers. Then we have the abstracts like Lord Chaos, Master Order, Eternity, who is, you know, encompasses all that exists. We have Infinity, and these guys are all still below. The in-betweener? Yeah, the in-betweener as well. All these guys are still below, and they are basically, you know, they're basically under the Living Tribunal in the hierarchy and in power as well. And although the Living Tribunal hasn't, like, blown up infinite multiverses or anything like that, he can scale from characters that have done a lot more impressive things. So, essentially, when there was a battle between Infinity and Oblivion, who are two abstract entities, it was stated that just one M-body, or basically like a fragment, or like you could say like a clone, or you could say an infinitesimal part of Infinity, was fighting at the highest level of reality. And it's been stated and implied many times in Marvel Comics that there are infinite dimensions in the Marvel Universe, and that there are infinite universes. While in Dragon Ball, it hasn't been fully confirmed there's infinite. I mean, I think it has been implied that there's countless amounts of time rings, you know, for every timeline.
Especially in Heroes. That's their whole gimmick.
Yeah, definitely. But if we're talking about canon only, it's only like, 12 universes that we've seen in just one multiverse or one timeline. But in Marvel, even just one timeline can have infinite universes. And there's infinite timelines. And the Living Tribunal judges and is simultaneously like present in all of them at the same time. And he can destroy it if he wants to, anytime he wants.
Yeah, so essentially, the one thing that breaks Zeno from being on the level of Living Tribunal is that there are different Zenos in every timeline, and every Zeno is not aware of the other Zeno, and we know that because we have Goku introducing the Omni Kings to each other at the end of the Trunks arc. They weren't even aware that each other existed, and that changes things tremendously, because the Living Tribunal is not only aware of everything in time, space, and matter in the Marvel multiverse, he's also existing in all of them at once. So there's one consciousness, one omniscient omnipresent. I don't even know if I'm using the right word, but you get where I'm going with this.
Like it'll be nigh omniscient, nigh omnipresent, basically.
Thank you, yes. And so, it's the fact that Zeno has been able to destroy 12 universes at once is impressive, but he doesn't exist. And presumably speaking, we can assume he can do something similar because he shut down the Infinity Gauntlet without even thinking.
Yeah, and that was just one body, too. It isn't even like his whole power, It was just like one M body. And a way to examine this even more closely is that you can analyze this little diagram that they put for us in this Marvel comic. It was during Secret Wars. And we have Dr. Doom, who is bound by time. And in every single one of these timelines, his appearance changes or his motivations or basically his personality can change. But then we have Molecule Man, who is like an abstract entity. And he is not affected by time whatsoever. He is the same across every single timeline, and he is aware of all the other, Molecule Man's actions. He basically is above time itself, right? And that is how the Living Tribunal operates, because he is beyond all these characters as well. He transcends all those concepts. And yes, he shut down the Infinity Gauntlet, and logically speaking, he can also destroy the entire infinite multiverse if he so wanted. If he came to that decision, then he would definitely do it. And, you can scroll down from other abstracts and other characters. For example, we have the Chaos King, who basically wiped out about 99% of the Marvel multiverse. And he's still, not even the top character or the top villain in Marvel. And the Living Tribunal would definitely at least scale to that because he is a top dog in the Marvel multiverse.
And Living Tribunal can traverse time, whereas in Dragon Ball, all of the gods, not just Zeno, but Beerus and all of them, the Kais, they can't travel through time without something, whether it be a time machine or whether it be a time ring or maybe a portal that's opened up because of a time ring like Goku Black. We've never seen them just be able to close their eyes and appear in a different timeline. The Supreme Kai of Time might have abilities like that, but that's, again, heroes. We're not really talking about that because the whole point of Heroes is to have that kind of multiple timelines kind of thing. We're talking about just the main story. Now, do you mind kind of breaking down the different tiers as far as high-level scaling goes, like hyperversal, omniversal, just so people kind of understand the differences?
Well, it definitely does get really complicated because you can either break down dimensional tiering using shapes or, basically dimensions itself, or using algebraic equations or, calculus, stuff like that. So you can think about it in several ways. And on top of that, Marvel, DC, and Dragon Ball, and whatever other verse you might think, they might have separate or completely different systems of how to gauge it. So a way to think about it is we are third dimensional, right? We can move up, down, forward, backward, and, side to side. But for example, you can see a piece of paper, a drawing. It can only move up, down, left, and right. Or you can have a line that goes infinitely across left and right, but it can never have depth, right? Because it doesn't have that dimension.
It's 2D, not 3D. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So if Zeno is clearly not, at the highest point of reality possible, he would more than likely not even be able to fathom what the Living Tribunal can, and he would not even be able to destroy a structure that the Living Tribunal can because it is out of his reach. It might be infinitely third dimensional or infinitely fourth dimensional, because Goku and Beerus actually were fourth dimensional in power because they were going to be able to wipe out an entire space-time continuum. Actually, several of them, in fact, in their battle, and Zeno would obviously scale from that. But fourth dimensional compared to infinite dimensional, yeah, that's definitely a huge reach, right? So the point is, the Living Tribunal can destroy and can more than likely basically analyze structures that are much, much higher than anything Zeno could even fathom. And that is basically the main point there, that it is just, he's just way more powerful in every single way.
Yeah, now, as far as, to simplify everything, Living Tribunal has virtually no limitations. Zeno does have limitations, and we've seen these limitations in the series. Now, if Dragon Ball Super continued and Toriyama changed Zeno and made him stronger and broke some of those limitations, that's fine. We're basing this video off of the first 131 episodes of Super. Anything after this is, we'll probably go back and revisit it, I'm sure. But Tribunal has very few limitations. Now, there are some other abstracts in Marvel, like you said, Owen Reese, the Molecule Man. Also, one that comes to mind is Protege from Earth 691.
Oh, yeah, he was OP.
Yeah, he could mimic the Living Tribunal's power. That's he looked at God, essentially, in the Marvel multiverse and could do what God did. And it's crazy. You have stories like that. Also, I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, well, what about the one above all in Oblivion? Chuck over on his channel has a video breaking down the powers of one above all in Oblivion, because there is some very interesting things they've been doing with Oblivion lately that y'all can check out over on his channel. So I want to give you a plug there.
Yeah, thanks for that. But basically, it's crazy that even the Living Tribunal is not even the top dog in Marvel. I mean, there's still like several beings that are above him. So Oblivion is definitely a big one because he exists completely outside of the Marvel multiverse, and if all creation dies, then they go within him, and he is basically not even bound by dimensions whatsoever. He is beyond infinite dimensions, if that makes any sense. It's pretty crazy, to be honest.
He's beyond the universe. Yeah, what's that whole thing with like Marvel Cosmic? Has the more and more weird you get, like the movies have like scraped the surface of this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, it's like the tip of the iceberg. It's not even like surface level on there.
And honestly, for the casual audience, they're probably not going to get it. This is more for like the hardcore nerds, but yeah, these characters exist beyond like matter and antimatter. Like it's literally like a god, like the perception of, you know, the Abrahamic God. It's that kind of level. And some would even argue that's even higher within the confines of that fictional universe. So I mean, it's crazy. So everybody remember to check out Chuck. The answer to the debate is going to be Living Tribunal. And again, Toriyama,
Solo's the verse.
he could solo Zeno. That's the crazy part. Right, and until Toriyama creates a higher god, because remember, they never said that Zeno created the multiverse. That's never been said. So Toriyama's got in his back pocket maybe a higher god, but until that happens, he's the highest guy that we know of, and even he wouldn't hold a candle to Living Tribunal, much less even some beings that are beneath him. Dude, even Protege would wipe out Zeno easily.
Definitely, yeah. Pretty damn low power too.
Right. All right, folks. Well, check out Chuck. I'll leave a link, and leave your comments down below if you think we missed something, or if there's a question you might have, drop it, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, peace out. Thanks.